Hi guys, hello. I'm going to wait for few people to join in, and today I just want to share a chapter, in fact a paragraph from the chapter in my book, Healing the Wounds of Debt. It's got 13 chapters. I'm sharing, okay, there's two people there. Hi Nosipo. I can't see who else is there, but hello guys. So today I just want to share a chapter on chapter 5 in the book Healing the Wounds of Debt. I recently published it. So the chapter 5 goes childhood wounds. I'm talking about different kinds of wounds in this book, but what stands out for me, because my wound, I am relating to my wound was mostly based on childhood experiences. So I thought, let me share just a paragraph on this book and then maybe try and explain what is it that I was trying to get people to to understand and relate, and also relate it with the workshop that is upcoming that I'm going to be doing about the money roller coaster mindset. So I'm going to read the paragraph. It says, the chapter 5, childhood wounds. We all have wounds from our past, but for some of us, the wounds are deeper. Their impact on our everyday lives are more pronounced. I know for a fact that my childhood experience has had a great impact on my decisions. Surprisingly enough, my childhood experience led me to saying I was going to work hard and get myself out of poverty. But I did not realize that my subconscious mind was already hardwired with the state of lack, borrowing from Peter to pay John, getting money from lending and paying it back on month-to-month basis. I continued with this pattern for years, always living from hand to mouth, and no matter how much increment I was getting, it was just not enough. I remember for 2 consecutive years, I got an increment twice a year, but somehow I found myself back in debt at the end of the month. It was either I was owing a short-term loan, a person, or a stock fail. So, guys, this was a pattern. This was for me. This was a pattern that was caused by my childhood experience. Just to get a brief on the book, I am explaining that when I was growing up, my mother kind of lost a job during the in between when I was still going to school, and we had to leave from borrowing money. Not money, it was food. So we would go next door, ask for a portion of food, and whatever we were getting, we would use it. And after that, maybe in a month when there was little grant or whatever that we have managed to raise as money, we would buy 80 kgs of Milli Meal, and then I would have to return the portions to different homes where we had borrowed those 5 liters of portions. So what was happening is we would have some kind of food for 2 weeks that we were taking from the grocery that was done at the end of the month. Then 2 weeks later, it was gone. So I had to go back again to different homes and ask for this, ask for Milli Meal, ask for Amafuta, ask for this and ask for that. So it was a pattern that was like uncontinuously ending. So when I was growing up, I was like, I am never going to go through this ever in my life. But what I was not realizing is the pattern was being engraved in my subconscious mind. It was there. It was just, my mind just knew that whatever I had to last for 2 weeks. It didn't matter how much I was getting paid. I would be paid a salary. It would last me exactly 2 weeks. It wouldn't last more than 2 weeks. So this was a pattern, and for me, I would now, because I was like, I'm never going to a state of lack ever again. So what I would do is, because I was working, I was qualifying, what I would do is I would go to a bank and borrow money, and then it would last me for the remaining 2 weeks. Then again, at the end of the month, I would be paid, and then I would return whatever, because I used to do short-term loans, or maybe in our areas we've got stokvels where we've got local stokvels where we can borrow money from there. So whatever was left, I would like use the money for 2 weeks later, then come back again, and 2 weeks again I'm going back to the same person to borrow money just for it to last me another 2 weeks. So this was some kind of a roller coaster that was happening over and over again, and it just didn't end. As much as I was not aware that the reason for me to behave like this, it was because of the way I grew up. So what I was doing, it was my mind. My mind was already giving me that scenario without me even thinking about it. The other day I wrote that your thoughts, they become your pattern, and then they get engraved into your subconscious mind, and then you don't get to think about it anymore. You just do it unconsciously. You are not aware why you are doing this, and yet these are the beliefs that were engraved to you, whether you were young, whether in the past years or whatever. But the way you are acting, it's not because you kind of like don't know why you are doing this. The mind is giving you what it has been engraved to you. So for me, to escape this kind of behavior of this pattern, I had to kind of sit and be like, but why am I never getting out of that? Why am I forever, as much as I am doing well, I'm working, but why am I forever in debt? So it didn't matter whether I was owing a bank, whether I was owing someone, whether I was owing a stokvel, but I was forever owing someone. I would enjoy my money just for 2 weeks. Then other than that, 2 weeks later, I'm done. The money is gone and I need to survive. And I have told my mind that I am never going to lack again. So my idea of me avoiding lack was actually leading me to more lack, because now what was happening is I was borrowing more money, and when I received this amount of money, I would then again reduce my salary, because at the end of the month I have to pay this amount. So I would reduce my salary and pay this person back. So I had to sit and look back and actually think and meditate, in fact, it was started by being coached. I got a coaching from one of the coaches, and then I had to sit and think, because now she triggered something and asked me what had happened when you were growing. What is your money story? How was money introduced to you? And then I kind of thought, I can't remember how I was introduced to money, because I remember I had always like kind of lacked a lot, and this pattern, it just, as much as it was going on from home, but it was also like now getting extended to people that were close to me, and I had to really like look down and think about it. What is it that is actually going on? And then I realized, and then I remembered that, okay, I had this kind of cycle when I was growing up, and then I had to kind of find and heal it. But that's the best part about being aware. As soon as I was aware of what was going on, then it was easy for me to interrupt that pattern, because now I was aware that, oh, okay, when I was growing up, this is what happened. I would borrow money. At home we would borrow food, and then we would return it. Then 2 weeks later it would be the same cycle. Then I remembered, the moment I remembered that, for me, that was a breakthrough, because now I was able to be in control of my conscious decisions. It no longer mattered how much I was owing. What mattered was the fact that I had known what was the biggest drive behind my actions. So the most important thing is to bring it into your conscious mind, and then after that, when you're done bringing it into your conscious mind, it's easy for you to kind of interrupt it when it happens. So what I would do is, 2 weeks later, when I can see that, okay, this thing is starting to happen, then I would interrupt it and say, no, maybe let me just hold on for 1 more week and see if what is going to happen to me. And then when it's the 3rd week, and I was like, let me hold on 1 more week, because only now I'm left with only 7 days, so I can actually do this thing. I can actually last for longer without me having to go to a Stockville or wherever and to borrow. So that was the most important thing, the realization, the awareness. So in this book, I've written quite a lot of wounds. I was just bringing attention in one of the wounds that were directly affecting me, the childhood wounds. And there's a lot of other wounds that affect children. It doesn't necessarily have to be lack. For example, I've got one of the chapters where I'm talking about in the same chapter. I've listed some of the things that actually get people to be more in debt, and yet it's not influenced by their current situation, but it's influenced by their previous situations. Like, for example, I'll just read one. There's quite a number of them. There's this one that says growing up in a very financially strict home. So when you have grown up from this home, a home which money wasn't wasted, where you were forever reminded that there is no money and we are living on a strict budget. This, I've then mentioned what effect could this do into a child. I said this child tends to overcompensate themselves when they start working. So when you grow up and you're being told every time when you want something, when you ask for something, and you're told money doesn't grow on trees, where do you think we get the money? We're living on a strict budget. You can't do this. There's no money. There's no enough money. And you're constantly reminded of that. So that kind of a child, she has grown up in a home that was like overly strict when it comes to finances. They can't even buy ice cream because they are told that the money is we can't waste money. So this child tends to overcompensate when they grow up. You will hear them saying, I'm buying this thing. When I was growing up, I never got the privilege to actually get this thing. So they would start spending more on things that they feel that they were deprived. And this could lead them to finding themselves deep into debt. Like, you feel like this is what you want, and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm getting this thing because when I was growing up, I couldn't get this thing. And most of the time, these people who have grown up from homes that were overly strict, they tend to overcompensate to their children. They tend to give more to their children. And what happens to their children is that they don't know when to stop. And these kids, as they now grow with this parent that is overcompensating to them, then when they grow up, they don't understand when some things are not there. They would also now, this becomes a pattern. You grow up from a home that is financially strict, then you raise kids that are overcompensated. These kids that get overcompensated, they now feel some kind of entitlement that this is what they have because at their home they were never deprived of anything. So in this case, they never think straight. They do whatever they want to do with the money, and for them, they don't understand. No, planning is not part of the issue for them. They just spend, and if they don't have, then they start not to understand. So this is a pattern that grows. It's sometimes up, down, because now you were deprived, you overcompensate. Then the kids, when they get to grow up, they are like, we cannot afford not to have this. So they find themselves getting more into debt because they don't know the word no. So get yourself a copy. There's a lot of stories that I talk about here. I talk about childhood wounds, I talk about peer pressure, I talk about self-sabotage, I talk about the fear of money phobia. I talk about ancestral wounds, very deep in there. So please get yourself this copy and find yourself, and I'm sure it will give you so much information and help you find yourself, because I also found myself by being able to identify which wound I was falling under. Okay, thank you for joining. I can take questions if there's a person who wants to ask. You can just type in there, and then I will try and respond. I'll just read through the ones if there is any questions. Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi Nosipho. Hi Zipozonke. Hello Tija. Thank you Mr. Makubu. Thank you for joining. Hi Linda. Linda is saying a vicious cycle. Once you start taking loans, you never stop. That is so true. If you start taking loans, it doesn't stop. You'll find out a person here has bought in a car on installment, and 3 years later, they all of a sudden want to change it. And it's going to be 3 years after 3 years after 3 years. Then by the time you retire, then you see, you know what? I've been stuck in this thing of paying installment for the rest of my life. But now there's a fundamental reason for that. Some people are simply scared of money, and they are not aware that they are scared of money, because now there's this thing that says your subconscious mind would never clash with your your conscious mind will never clash with your subconscious mind. So your conscious mind will take what the subconscious mind is telling it. So if you have been told when you were growing up that money is the root of all evil, money is associated with all those things, it's associated with greed and all of that, your subconscious mind will try by all means to get rid of money. It doesn't matter what it does, but it will try for as much as it can to get rid of money, and somehow debit orders when the money comes into your account, and then all of it is debited. That is one of the things that you do to get rid of money in your space. So you might think it's just me wanting to take this, it's just me wanting to buy this, but your mind is simply telling you, we don't want to be associated with anything that is evil. So yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about deeper into this about it with Ubusi on the 28th of April from 6 to 8. We're going to be talking a lot about it and why you find yourself thinking about this, and also sharing tools on how you can actually identify your money story, what kind of a person you are, what kind of a money person are you, how are you receiving money, are you a money custodian, how to become one. We're going to be talking a lot about this. Please do join us. You can DM me, or you can send a voice note, a WhatsApp on 074 9311 000. Also the book, you can place your order at 074 9311 000 via WhatsApp. I am able to deliver, so don't worry about the lockdown. I am able to deliver. You will get it in 3 to 4 days. Otherwise, thank you. Okay, I was still reading the comments, and I'm also looking for questions. How much is the delivery to Johannesburg? It's 100 rand. So the 200 rand and the delivery is 100 rand. How do you know you are scared of money? Oh, okay, I'm answered. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I see there aren't any other questions. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. You can share the video so that other people can get to see it. You can share, and share it in your groups. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Bye.